Welcome, my friends and enemies. Glad you are here. We are jumping into Wigs of Prime with my friendly neighborhood phone yards, Matt. If you want to say hi.
Howdy, neighbors.
Howdy do down, neighbors.
How diddly doing, neighbors?
How's it going, bud? We are going to hate our lives for doing this, but unfortunately, I'm going to make the mistake of actually covering season 2 if I'm still alive.
Before you watch it, because you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to put a thought in your head. Now, not leaving aside the joking stuff, just from the obviously this show is garbage, whatever, right? But just thinking from what they're attempting to do with marketing, see if you got the impression that I got, which is they're attempting to incorporate more of the actual lore via retcon or just throw in to sucker people in for this season. Now, see if you think that after watching this trailer.
I mean, they've already claimed that's what they're going to do. They claimed that at the end of season 1.
Yeah.
But whether or not it actually takes effect, they might be. I'm thinking they'll probably do the trailer to seem like they're doing the lore, but I don't know if the show will actually do the lore.
Well, it can't. They would have to totally retcon the whole first season away to do the lore. You have to have Galadriel wake up and goes, "Oh my god, what a horrible dream!" That's the only way to fix it.
Well, I mean, she's like, "I can't believe I behaved like such a brat. I'm a lady, not a freaking monster, let alone a dumb one." But yeah, I mean, that honestly would be better. I mean, they've lost any goodwill they ever get, but that would at least be better. But I like that how, from what it looks like, the intro is literally the end of season 1.
And before I get into that, let me say, the background stuff, the matte painting, the not the small set design, like the rooms, but the big graphics for all the cities and shit, the music, that's all really good. Okay. There's a lot of
I could notice it being green screened in on season 1.
No, but compared to compared to the foreground work, which is the acting, the writing, and all that, if they had adhered to the lore,
it's miles better than that. Yeah.
If they had adhered to the lore, this could have potentially been decent.
Well, I mean, if anybody adheres to the lore, even if the CGI is trash, it'll still be miles better. But
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Help. But yeah, well, I guess let's jump into this nonsense.
An evil, ancient, and powerful has returned.
They summoned Mumra. Did you get that? They literally stole from Thundercats. Ancient and powerful evil has returned. They summoned Mumra.
I just like the fact that he's pointing at himself.
Yeah.
An ancient and evil power has returned. Me. And then now we have I bet you don't know what this is.
I believe that's supposed to be Shelob.
It's actually a wig.
The Shelob is actually a wig.
Look at it. It's literally just like little wig hairs all stuck together.
It looks like the creature from Star Trek that killed Tasha Yar.
I want to be like, do you know how the orcs were made? It's like, do you know how the wigs were made? And then show the screen.
Prepare yourselves.
Stop it. So, important to note, she's standing still in a guard position, right? There is no way you would hold that sword like that. Now, people listen to this, I'm not a martial arts master. I'm not a kemo expert. Do have a little fight training in my background. When you have a sword, you hold it between you and the other guy, big blade out to block. You don't point at it like that at all. Now, there's circumstances when you would do that in the middle of a fight, when you're about to strike in a certain way, but at a guard position, no. So the combat choreography on this is horrible.
It's a position that you pull back to right before you plunge, not that you hold. It's like you go back and then you go in. You don't
or you threaten you're going to do that as a feint or something.
Yeah, because I remember in Fellowship of the Ring when they're doing the Last War of the Alliance, They have the elves holding their swords in the back, but that's because they were flowing forward to flow the other direction.
Now,
So,
if
like,
she had a much longer blade,
yeah,
like for example, if you watch Sharp, for example, with where you have soldiers fighting people who don't have swords, that would make some sense because as they charge towards you, you want to stab into them so they don't get to you with their
yeah, but you'd use a spear for that. You wouldn't use a sword.
No, and I'm talking like Napoleonic era combat, like 1800s. So
Yeah,
they wouldn't have spears; they would have muskets with bayonets. And
yeah.
officers and some lieutenants had swords much longer than that, and they would use that so as they're being charged, they could repeatedly stab into the guy charging into them to avoid getting jabbed with the musket.
You mean like a cavalry saber?
Well, that would be curved. The ground, like the
Well, I meant the length. The length's long enough for them to strike at the ground while they're on the horse.
The officers not a saber,
I thought they used sabers for officers. The officer saber.
For the mounted one, for sure. Ground one's not always. There's a name for some. Will have some countries had curved sabers. Some had straight blades. I don't know the name of the straight blade has a name though.
Rapier.
I don't remember the name of it. Huh?
A rapier.
That's a rapier is more of a dueling thing. It's not as heavy duty for use against in military. There's a name for it. I just don't remember it.
There's a lot of different names. Like you could have like 6 swords that look identical. They all have different names because they're used for.
But that is not this case. So
yeah. Well, it's everything about this is questionable so far. But what can I say? I like the little dagger guy. Like he's going to be able to reach anything. It's like it's going to get to him before anything. And poor Elrond here. He looks like a Frodo.
He's still wearing his like motel room cloak.
This is fresh after his shag with Durin the Third.
Yeah.
Asian elves.
Yeah. There's a lot of there's just atrocious crap in here.
There's no lore thing that you could possibly use to make sense of this, and we had this in the first one with Arondir and his.
Arondir is more likely than an Asian elf. I'll tell you that much.
Arondir,
in theory, like you know,
paid for weeks.
Well, in theory, one of the elves of Proto-Scandinavia, because that's where they're from, could have had sex with a mortal who was an Afro-African person and had a black-skinned elf kid. At least that's remotely possible, if not likely. No way with an Asian. It's not going to happen.
Jesuits, man. They get everywhere.
Yeah.
Any idea what this is supposed to be? Butterflies?
No, it's nothing. Nothing they're using would have that.
This is the Nazgul sisters, aren't they?
Like this is probably some sort of thing they're introducing. But see, the thing is,
remember the Nazgul sisters were like witches and stuff, so like they had sorcery powers and all that jazz. So this could easily be them, and I could believe it. Unless they're adding something new, which is also possible, but I think they're going to bring them back because the way they got rid of them in the first one made it seem like they were coming back.
Worms his way inside
yeah. You know who that could have been? Remember those elves that were hunting those, which were probably not real, was probably the show's version of Maiar, which were hunting for fake Gandalf. You remember them?
That's the Nazgul chicks.
Oh, that's what you call them? Yeah, I call
because they're evil. They're basically they're what are they called?
Sauron worshippers, basically.
They're prototype Nazgul, if you will. And this is, I'm assuming, not the roots of the actual tree.
Well, no, remember, we did talk about it the other day. Sauron would legitimately have sorcerers and necromancers, like he taught his foul perversion of reality.
Yeah, I'm saying the way they behaved and stuff was beyond.
No, I agree with you in that concept, but I'm not disagreeing there. I'm just saying,
these orcs look so bad.
And then worse, they're associating a snake with Sauron. Okay, if you're going to associate any animal with Sauron, it's going to be a wolf.
That wasn't snakes; those were roots.
Oh, I thought those were snakes.
Nope, they're roots of a tree. Celebrimbor, the dumbest smith ever to live. This is his
he has been
furnace.
here.
You see the silhouette in there? It's supposed to be reminiscent of an eye because that's clear as day.
Yeah.
And her going, I think he's been here. He's been here the whole time.
This is the retcon.
Yeah.
The retconning in Commentator.
Oh my gosh.
Wigatar. But the thing is, I can't hate on Halbrand as much as the other characters because at least he was something.
He at least tried.
Yeah.
Considering he didn't even know he was Sauron for like the first 5 episodes.
And he played evil pretty well. As an actor, he did evil pretty well. So
I'm just. Why is the wig so high up?
Now, if that is blonde hair, I will say that would be the correct color because Anatar would appear as a Vanyar elf, not an older.
Yeah. I'm not worried about the color. I'm talking about like where it's placed on his head. It feels like he has a receding hairline.
So for those listening, and to understand what should have happened versus what did, right? Anatar was among the elves for about 200 years, 200 to 300 years. First, he went to I always mess the order of this up. First, he went to Lindon and Gil-galad, and Gil-galad, something was off, but Gil-galad couldn't really tell he was evil. He just didn't trust him, right? Nor did Elrond, so they sent him away. Then he went to Eregion and the city of Ost-in-Edhil that Galadriel had built to centralize her efforts in Eregion because she made Eregion. The alliances that were there she is the most powerful telepath who is not of the Ainur. Okay, even she couldn't tell he was Sauron, but she knew he was bad news. And she said, "Nope, get out, go away." So then he used his subversion to turn Celebrimbor against her, and he took over Ost-in-Edhil and kicked her out. Right, and then he spent around 200 years teaching Celebrimbor and the Smiths of Ost-in-Edhil. There's a name for them. I can't remember right now. Has an I in the middle of it. And teaching them ring lore and other stuff. Okay. Then at the end, by the year 1500 of the Second Age, they had forged the 9 and the 7. Right. Then Sauron left. He was still Anatar. They didn't know who he was. To go back to Mordor to forge the One Ring. That's when Celebrimbor started to wake up, and he began forging the 3 using the ring lore, but Sauron had no direct influence over them. He finished forging them around 1580 or 1590. Sauron finishes forging the One Ring in 1600. Celebrimbor and 2 of his dudes had the 3 rings on, immediately sensed because they couldn't immediately be dominated because Sauron had no direct hand in the rings. That's what the freak happened with Sauron. Took the rings off. That enraged Sauron, okay, and he began the war, what was called the War of the Elves and Sauron, and attacked Ost-in-Edhil. Celebrimbor sent the 3 rings to Gil-galad, okay, to be hidden among the powerful, but be hidden. Gil-galad kept one. He sent another one to Círdan and another one to Galadriel, the 3 most powerful elves remaining in Middle-earth, right?
Yep.
And then basically it was the Ost-in-Edhil versus Sauron, and they got overwhelmed. He busts in there, gets the 9 for mortal men, gets 6 of the 7 for dwarves, possibly the 7th. There's some debate over where we got the 7th ring. In the lore, Tolkien never settled that. Then begins spending years torturing Celebrimbor to try to find out where the 3 rings are. He never breaks. And then when Sauron comes back out, he has literally the body of Celebrimbor, the tortured body, hung in effigy on the front of his army. And that was the war. And then the War of Elves and Sauron happened. And Numenor. The event of Numenor's fall didn't happen 1,500 years later. There were Numenorians involved. The heir to Numenor at the time, and this actually in some ways may have begun the influence of Sauron in Numenor, because the King's men were still a minority faction. They're the ones who were against the Valar and the Elves. And this guy, he was basically a bad prince and became a bad king. Not evil, but incompetent, right? But he was a very good ally to Gil-galad in the fights against Sauron when he was there, right? So because he was like a incompetent king, it led to dissension and corruption arising on Numenor, leading to the Kingsmen eventually taking over the island. Okay, and that all happened, like I said, by the time the year 1650 that's all done. You know.
Yeah. Well, also the rings for Gil-galad, Galadriel, and Círdan. Círdan's ring ends up with Gandalf.
He gives to Gandalf. He senses that Gandalf is actually one of the Maiar.
Yeah. Well, he also senses he's good and pure in that regard. He's not corrupt with power or anything like that, or power hungry. So he senses him like he's gonna be you're gonna be a good dude. You're gonna be a good dude. And then he gives it to him, and then he uses that when he builds up basically courage and man and everything when he's around them, which is helpful. But I find this wig to be very like
I'm
it should be.
I know they're not going to do this, but maybe they'll touch it up more with special effects to make it look less like a wig.
Well, the thing is, it's not even that it looks like a wig. It's just it's the way it's worn. Looks like he's bald, and they just stuck like a cap on him.
But clearly, they're retconning in the presence of Anatar, right? So they're trying to sucker you in by saying, "Well, he was Anatar, just he was not. We didn't show those parts or whatever."
Now, I bet this scene's not going to be for probably the first 4 or 5 episodes. Reason being is because they're not going to start it out with like he's been here all along, or whatever she said, and then.
Well, remember they got to fill in all that stuff with the fake hobbits and fake Gandalf and all too.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, this isn't going to start out this way and then be the pursuit of Anatar or anything. It's gonna have some other stuff that's going to come into this. I'm not sure how they plan to do it. Maybe he appears in the furnace to Celebrimbor, and then he appears to him in person, and then Galadriel gets wind of it or something. I don't know. There's a lot of ways you could take a series like this, and in their sense, it's not going to be in the right way. But let's see what else they got. I think
so. Those type of creatures do exist in the Legendarium. There's actually a particular part of the ocean where they live. They, however, play no significant part in anything Tolkien ever wrote. That doesn't mean they didn't play a part, but because there was a hazard of the sea the Numenorians had to deal with when they were exploring the oceans, but they did not actually interact. Like Tolkien didn't write a whole subsection on, oh well, Bob sailed the ship over there and fought this giant monster or whatever. You know what I mean? They were just there.
Well, I mean, they're probably going to refer to this as the thing that ate the ship or whatever in the first season or something like that, like the big thing that hunted them down or whatever. And I think it'd be absolutely hilarious if one of these monsters at like the first season they actually like ate Halbrand and Galadriel, and Halbrand actually died. It's like, and one of the sea monsters saved the universe. It's like, what? But for one, why is the alleged Queen Muriel of Numenor underwater so deep that this thing was there?
I'm imagining this is actually from the sinking of Numenor or the prophecy of it.
Well, there's no way they're sinking of Numenor yet. Ar-Pharazôn would have to have his time period, and obviously they're going to get to that because they want Trump bad to be the main forefront.
Well, supposedly they want to end the show with the War of the Last Alliance. Yes, they're compressing 2,500 years of history into 5 seasons.
That's pretty far apart.
All of it's pretty far apart.
Yeah. I just don't know why they're using this monster. And I feel like, wouldn't Ulmo kind of be dicking around with these guys if they were affecting the world too much?
No, he would. I mean, they're just big giant monsters. They're not evil or anything. They're just monsters. Like it was Eru who sunk the city. Because they can't mention God, they're not going to say it was Eru who sunk the city, sunk the island. So Eru Ivatar is basically Jehovah, Yahweh, whatever name of God you want to use. So they can't allude to that. So they're going to have it so that like Sauron got giant monsters to think the city or something like that. You know.
Are they gonna pull a Gears of War where that has the Leviathan worms going around underneath the island, and then it sinks the whole island?
They'll steal from Clash of the Titan where Poseidon released the Kraken. Sauron will be releasing giant monsters on Numenor.
Well, we the Wackens.
It does have a lot of weird hair-looking appendages.
Yeah, I'm getting some vibes like they're trying to play off of the Watcher in the Water.
Oh, Lovecraftian stuff.
I mean, Watcher of the Water from Fellowship of the Ring, outside of Moria.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Because it had a lot of appendages and stuff like that. This one looks more like they're like tentacles rather than appendages.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the point of that is, but okay.
Every soul in
She looks evil. I don't know how you just look at her and not think that, but
Middle Earth
Well, she
is
did start a coup.
huh?
She did start a coup among the dwarves.
There's that too, yeah. Yes, because bridges just randomly explode. Bother. That was lovely. Okay, I will die on this hill. Those are hideous looking rings. And I did a very close dive on those in the first season when they were first forged or used.
I think on the list of like things that are wrong with this show, that's somewhere around number 1,672.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's like the thing that's wrong. Like if that was the only thing wrong with the show, I would probably enjoy the show. But my best friend is a jeweler, and I showed him the uncuts and everything, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, those are bad." And I was like, "I know, right? Like this is atrocious." But it looks like here they probably fixed them up a bit more so they don't look as stupid. Which means the red one's the one that Gandalf ends up with, because the guy in gold's Gil-galad and obviously Galadriel. I don't know why they gave Galadriel one after she's been so stupid, but whatever. I'm assuming that's a dwarven ring. Did he just... What?
Yeah, he did.
What?
He did.
He dismounted from an invisible shadow horse backwards and vaulted, and now is holding the arrow really, really weird.
And in a way that would wreck his wrist if he did that often enough.
Which is definitely how an elf would do it. I still hate his brigandine so freaking much. What?
I just hate him.
I mean, there's that too. Yeah. And you can obviously tell they're really trying to play off. Like, this looks like it's cool at like a quick glance, and as long as it's only a quick glance, it does look cool. But then if you look at it, and the more you look at it, you're like, oh, there's a green screen behind that, or they placed this into the mountain, yada yada yada. Like,
but at least, like I said, this level of work is of decent, if not great quality.
Yeah,
compared
and
to
again,
the foreground stuff that was horrible.
If the foreground stuff was good and the story and acting was good, this would be plenty good.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a problem. It's just because you're looking for something good, but then you look for something good, you can't find it. Like, for example, right here, you got this little doorway that comes out to a cliff. Doesn't seem to have a guardrail. And there's some random trees there, and that's literally it. It's like, why does this exist?
So we can plant trees on the balcony to nowhere. Like
The stone balcony? You're gonna plant trees on a stone balcony?
Imagine the plan: balcony to nowhere. Put tree planters.
I mean, door to nothingness, I guess. Why are eagles even? The Eagles would not be participating in this.
Certainly not in that way.
The Eagle of Trump. Oh yeah, I forgot about Theo. Ah!
Yeah.
Good old Theo. Dumb Theo. What is this?
Siege warfare.
Are those? I thought they were ships. They're trebs. And the elves, for some reason, which I believe are Noldor elves, do not have any protection. Okay. The new what's his name?
Oh, Daddy. His Quenya for Daddy. Adar.
Adar. Yeah, because the actor bounced out, so they got a different actor. Best decision of his career.
Yeah.
Fake Gandalf. That was fake Gandalf and probably Flobbit herself.
Fake Gandalf on Arrakis.
Look at this face.
And here, and this is the most preposterous scene the whole trailer is about to happen.
That one?
No, it's coming.
Wait, did they actually make armor this time?
They probably just rented it from another movie. That's what they do with most of the stuff.
That just is not. That looks like what? 300 cavalry?
I can't quite tell. Yeah, here it is. This is the most preposterous scene in the whole thing.
Oh. Wait, is that supposed to be Barad-dûr, or is that supposed to be the?
So that scene was them confronting Anatar Sauron, right?
Yeah.
He decides to just flex and blow them all up. Yet somehow Elrond and Galadriel are alive after that.
Well, the blow up is for this.
No, you see him flex and blow them apart. Like you'll see it. They're intermixing two scenes, but you see him flex and blow up the people around him. Watch
Yeah, well, I see it. I see
what
them.
They don't show you is standing right in front of him are Elrond and Galadriel.
Yeah, it looks like there's somebody's stabbing the soldiers or something. That's kind of weird. But this is the creation of Barad-dûr, I guess.
So if they had actually confronted Sauron and he was not holding him back, he would have killed both of them. Second Age would have been over right then and there.
No last war of the Alliance. No.
And for those who don't know this, as per Tolkien himself, Galadriel has no chance against Sauron. None. Okay.
I mean, even Gandalf probably wouldn't.
No, Gandalf was literally afraid to go back to Middle Earth because of Sauron.
If we're all being honest, we would be too.
So in the War of the Last Alliance, which they want to end with, and you can't go by Peter Jackson's film because his film messed the whole thing up. Okay, so what happened is, the War of the Last Alliance happened. Gil-galad and Elendil, High King of Men, they got their forces together. They fought a war and they eventually besieged Barad-dûr for, I believe it was 9 years or 7 years, one of the two. Okay. Sauron was like, whatever, bro. I don't. He's doing this. He's in the tower doing what he's doing. He can fly. He can get out anytime because he can shapeshift to a bird or whatever. So he's doing his own thing. Finally, after all the time, he gets friggin' annoyed and he's like, looks down and goes, I'm paraphrasing this, of course. I'm tired of this shit. Okay. Literally goes down, kills his way out of the tower. Elrond goes, of all those that faced Sauron that day, only Círdan, Isildur and I survived. Okay, he killed his way through an army to get wherever the party of Elendil and Gil-galad were. With Elrond would be there because he's a herald, Círdan because he's a leader, and Isildur would be near his dad. Right, killed them all. Okay. However, when he was killing them, he was struck down. Then Isildur took the remainder of his father's sword, Narsil, and cut. That's what after Sauron was struck down. Then he cut it off before Sauron could release from his body, grab the ring, and make a new body. Okay, because he could pick the ring up in spirit form. That's what actually happened. Okay, and so we're supposed to believe, right, that Sauron is this powerful, right? Because they're clear giving him his power now. He just flexes and blows stuff up now. Okay, which Sauron could do, by the way. But we
I'm gonna go nuclear.
like before he was like he was doing martial arts with dudes, right? Now he's flexing and blowing people up. That's what they're and we're supposed to believe that, but he does somehow. Elrond and fake Galadriel are going to survive that encounter.
I think it's going to be another scene that they probably flee is probably what happens. I think probably it's going to be a scene similar like in the first one when Galadriel gets out of the cells and she just pushes the guards into the cell block.
Well, they're gonna my prediction, she's going to survive because they're giving Sauron this hard-on for Galadriel. Remember, he wanted her to be his super queen or whatever. So he's going to still be trying to romance her in this season, and that's why her and Elrond are going to live. Because she's like, you must be alive to become my queen and when I rule the world or whatever. They're going to drop some stupid line like that.
I'm only going to become your queen if he lives, and if he doesn't live, I'll never become your queen, blah, 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 or something stupid like that. I just figure that they're going to pull like a Gandalf and fling themselves off of a building and an eagle will come and save them.
The eagle. It's just atrocious, and it's not just atrocious because of the devious lore, but it's horrible writing on its own. It's even a couple of good actors in there, like the woman who plays Disa is actually a decent actress, right? She's been given shit, okay?
Yeah, she's a little on the stupid side, but yeah,
they're all stupid. Almost every actor is a moron, you know.
I like the guy who plays Durin the Third.
They have good chemistry, those two, you know.
Well, not even like the chemistry aspect. Like he himself is very charismatic.
Yeah,
he's a very charismatic fellow.
Yeah,
and he plays the what is that? Not joyful. Happy dwarf, but like Joker dwarf.
Yeah,
he plays that really well. Like how you remember Gimli from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
the Hobbit dwarves and stuff like.
And the dude who plays Elendil is actually a decent actor, and he's getting shit to work with, but he's a decent actor.
Yeah, Isildur was a miscast.
Horrible.
Theo was a miscast.
I mean, he's a kid actor in a stupid role that makes no sense, you know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who else. I don't even know what purpose Bronwyn has. Like she doesn't really act. She's kind of like her scenes are in betweens, and she doesn't like. She's more action than talk. Ironically,
the actors who stood out to me, like I said, the dude who played Elendil, rather, and the chick who played Disa, and the dude who plays Durin. Those are the ones that, in my mind, have kind of stood out as actors.
Wait, you didn't think Celebrimbor was good?
I can't. It's hard with. I'll put it this way: Morfydd Clark in real life is a fairly decent actress who's good looking. She's not either of those in this show, you know. And like, so I can't because she's rooting Galadriel, and because that guy is rooting Celebrimbor, and because the other guy is rooting Elrond, and the other guy, well, I can't even blame the dude for Gilgalad because there's like 5 scenes, right? So, but because they're rooting characters who are established, Elrond in Tolkien's word is the closest thing to Jesus that's not Jesus, you know. He is. He if there's one human who could have thrown the One Ring in the fires of Mount Doom, it would have been Jesus Christ, right? That's Tolkien logic, you know.
Well, I mean,
the one guy who Tolkien wrote, Tolkien says come a line like, you know, if there's one guy who could throw the ring into Mount Doom, who could overcome temptation, it will be Elrond. But I don't think even he could do it. You know what I mean? That's how of the character and esteem he gives to Elrond.
I mean, Jesus is 100% man, but also 100% divine. So that's going to be a weird.
Well, that's why Jesus could do it. You know, he could overcome the temptations.
Yeah.
Like overcoming temptation of the ring will be like overcoming temptation of the cross. Like Jesus could have.
It's also one of those things where, like, if Elrond was there, which I don't remember if Elrond was actually there when Isildur took the ring, but if Elrond was there, he could have just pushed Isildur into there and be like, he tripped.
Well, he would never do that, though.
Well, no, but I'm saying that would have saved.
No, he wouldn't. That would be kinslaying.
I mean, very distant kinslaying, but yes.
It doesn't matter. The elves consider. That's why Elrond took Aragorn in. He considered him basically a kin from birth.
Yeah.
You know, so the elves, the noble elves, especially after they had the doom lifted from them, took the notion of kinslaying very seriously. You know.
Oh, yeah, they didn't want to have a Feanor 2.0.
Yeah. You know.
But yeah, my dog's turn.
Well, they only did 3 kinslayings before. Only did kinslaying 3 times, right? You know, it's like they didn't want a 4th. The people, like, when you watch this trailer, like, I'm trying to find a way. Okay, I'll put it this way. Okay, so did you watch the Avatar live action?
Which Avatar?
The you know the Avatar Last Airbender TV show.
I have not watched any of the live action.
Did you ever watch the cartoon?
I own the cartoon, yes.
Okay, you know they did a live action of season 1, right?
I know they did 2 different live action, or they did like a movie.
Forget the M Night Shyamalan Ding Dong one. Forget that guy. Netflix did an adaptation of like they're doing season to season basically. So they're going to do 3 seasons, and when you watch it, like the acting is actually very high quality. The setting is really good. The bending is fairly good. Where it fails big time is on the changes they made to the storyline. You know what I mean? Like if they had just used the storyline from the cartoon with slight modifications for, you know, the fact that like there would be killing in the show versus there wouldn't be in the cartoon. You know what I mean? But slight modifications like that, the show would have been great. But they left themselves at the end of season 1 where you could actually fix the live action show because they didn't destroy it. You know what I mean? Whereas with Rings of Prime and A Wheel of Prime, the only way to save what they've done so far is at the very first season for for Galadriel or for Rings of Prime, Wheel of Prime Moraine to wake up and go, "Oh my God, that's been a horrible dream." You know, like that you'd have to retcon away everything in those show in the Rings of Prime and Wheel of Prime. Whereas with Avatar, they kind of left themselves the ability to correct course in the second season. I don't think they're going to do it, but that's a separate argument. So there's no way, based on what they show in this trailer, that this could possibly be course corrected to be anything worth like we've talked about this before. Like I respect the live action the theatrical version of Peter Jackson's work. He did it. He did a spiritual adaptation of faith, but there are a lot of deviances from the books, right? So I could accept his work, even though I will quibble over quite a few of the changes. I can still enjoy the 2-hour versions of the movies. You know,
I quibble about a lot of the little things about it. I get annoyed at the elves being in Helm's Deep. I'm annoyed that
that's why I don't watch the extended version. All the things I would go crazy about get emphasized in the extended versions. You know.
I just enjoy the extended. Like if you have, I want more story. I don't want less story, and they do more things right than they do wrong. So that's just,
the point I'm getting at is like there's no way they could fix they didn't even intend to do a faithful adaptation with Rings of Prime. They didn't even intend it, you know. And
well, I mean, look at the showrunners.
Yeah, and then because they didn't intend that from the begin with, there's no even course correcting to get back near so that's why I said at the beginning, I think they're throwing the retconning in, you know, Haldoratar or Anatar, whatever you want to call him, Anatar. They're retconning Haldor as Anatar in that he was always there, you know. They're gonna retcon that in so that he was there beforehand. Haldor even showed up and whatever. They're going to retcon in a few other things to make it seem like they're getting back on course, but that's just a fake attempt to draw you in to their uncorrectable product.
Yeah, and that's kind of a thing that I am worried about, but I don't know. I know it's not going to be good. I want it to be good, but I know that they've already jacked that straight last season, but they don't care about the IP. They care about making bank off the IP, which they're not doing, but that's what they care about. So
Well, I'll stick to this one. Amazon's intent behind this show was solely to justify building that studio because they thought they were going to get the rights to the full thing, so they could remake Lord of the Rings, remake The Hobbit, do all the stuff in that super studio they built for this show. So this show is basically a write-off for that studio.
They never had rights to Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit.
No, the rights came up. What happened is, about a year or two ago, so the Saul Zaentz group, which had the rights, and I'll keep the lawsuits out of it to keep it simple. The Saul Zaentz group wanted to sell the rights off, right? So that they were coming up for grabs. And several different groups were trying to buy them. Amazon thought they were going to be the top bidder and get the rights, where this Embracer group became the one that got the rights.
Thank God.
I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll see.
I think that Amazon would do more damage than Embracer. But we also know that Embracer's working with Warner Bros. And they're at least, it has potential to be something at least decent as opposed to just absolute trash out of the gate.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah,
we know-
that's why I have some hope with the Peter Jackson Silmarillion adaptations that are coming up. Hopefully, they'll just,
I don't know if there's any Peter Jackson adaptations coming out for Silmarillion. I know they're doing
that's the project's been announced. He's going to work on it, adapting the Silmarillion.
Okay. Well, is he directing or is he just producing?
Well, his group is producing it. Whether he directs it or not, we'll find out.
Because he's not directing The Hunt for Gollum. He's only the producer. Andy Serkis.
No, he's only that project wasn't his group. He's producing it, but his group isn't.
Well, I mean, him and Philippa Boyens are producers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sad he sold What a Workshop though, because I wish they did good work.
Yeah.
But I don't think they did the same quality work they used to. But
did you watch the fan film The Hunt for Gollum yet?
I have not yet. Every time I think about it, I need to watch that, and then I completely forget about it.
It is, and Peter Jackson knows about it and liked the fan film. So,
which is good.
I have a funny feeling
as long as he holds to his mentality he did when they were making the Lord of the Rings of like we don't want to put anything of our viewpoint into it. We want to only put his viewpoint in it. I think it'll be fine. It might not have everything we want, but it'll be fine. And I'm happy if it's at least fine. That's my goal.
I think it'll be okay. I think he's doing a full we're not saying he's adapting the fan film. I think we're going to see basically a full version of that fan film.
Yeah, I think so, but I'm also hoping it's like actually good because I like to see more Tolkien world. I just don't want to see more bad Tolkien world. And yeah,
well, we'll have to see what comes out of this. I mean, adapting the Silmarillion is,
there's little to work with, put it that way.
There's such a danger in this. I mean, like the thing where it's better to want more than to get too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that I'm happy are over. Even though I want to see more of them, like some of the great books ever, like the Fianna Bar Tapestry by Gabriel Kay. I would love to see more in that setting. He's the guy who helped Christopher Tolkien put the Silmarillion together. But on the other hand, I'm happy that there is no more because it can't go bad.
Yeah. It's a double-edged sword. You want more content, but you're also worried it can be bad content. But you because of the potential ability of having bad content, you stop making content because you don't want to make bad content.
Oh yeah,
it sucks either way.
It's like with Shogun. Did you finish Shogun yet?
I haven't had the time. I want to watch it so freaking bad, especially with all this nonsense going on with Assassin's Creed. I want to watch it so bad.
So they've approved a season 2 and season 3 for the Shogun, right? Now, the book ends at the end of the first season. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you read the book, I'm not going to tell you exactly how it ends, but there's nothing in the book other than there's an epilogue, which you could pull some content out of. But there's nothing in the book about the real character. His name is Tokugawa Ieyasu. That's the guy Toranaga is based on. So, obviously, he did. He continued consolidating power and building up Japan out to stand on its own, all that. there was over the next 10, 20 years, right? So you can kind of pull from some of that, right? But my point is, at the end of the novel Shogun, you like Toranaga, right? If they, okay, Tokugawa Ieyasu, you won't like him if you read about his history. He was necessary for Japan, I think, but he's not a nice guy. He didn't do nice things, you know?
He did what he thought was necessary for things to be pushed in a particular direction, and that.
True, but he was also paranoid. Like the little kids, like in Shogun, you could hear him saying, "Oh, I'm loyal to the Taiko's heir. I'm loyal to the Taiko's heir." Right? He's not loyal to the Taiko's heir. That was his pretense so he could become the Shogun. And then he eventually, even though that kid marries his granddaughter, he eventually kills him. You know, in real life.
Listening.
And despite the kid spending like a decade saying, "Grant, I'm on your side. I'm backing you as Shogun." Tokugawa Ieyasu eventually handed Shogun to his son to show he didn't really want to rule Japan himself. But that's but all he did was while his son ruled Japan, he was consolidating power for his family. You know, so I'm not trying to say he was a horrible guy, but they're gonna ruin. I think it's gonna be the audience gonna be very like, what? If they go with the actual history for seasons 2 and 3 when it comes to Toranaga's character. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. I mean, again, I haven't seen it yet, but I think that with a season 2 and a season 3, depending on where they end season 1, there could be more they could add to it as long as they stay consistent within the universe that they're building and they don't do things outside of that universe that wouldn't make sense. Like,
well, all these characters are based on real historical figures. They can just pull from what really happened and compress the timeline a little more or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I get that, but what I'm saying is, like, even if you were to completely make it up, like not even use the actual stuff, if you were to completely make it up, but you would at least keep the characters the way they are. You'd have the characters do the things that they would do because that's who they are and that's the things that they would do.
Yeah.
But you'd also do like the way they interact with each other, the way battles are fought, everything, as long as it's consistent across the board. It's one of those things where, like, yeah, you could make more content. The same way that Game of Thrones, after like the first 4 seasons, they could have made them all really, really good all the way up to season, I think 11 is what HBO was going to go for them if they wanted it. They could have just indefinitely kept going if it was consistent and it was constantly making sense. It didn't make sense, and they lost the plot because they didn't know how to write the characters. They knew how to use.
They lost the plot because they fired Martin.
That too.
Yeah, I mean, even if he didn't finish the book, if they let him in the writer's room, he could have. Because Martin's actually an accomplished TV writer and producer. Okay?
Well, that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to write books. He wants to write TV.
Yeah. Martin only writes books when he feels he needs to make money. That's the only time, you know. So if they had kept Martin on, they could have kind of had a better last 3 or 4 seasons. Mind you, I'm not a gigantic fan of Game of Thrones as a TV show. Okay.
I'm not even really a fan of it as a books. Like the books,
I love the books, but I've been a Martin fan from before he wrote that book series. You know, but
I'm saying
the setting. You know,
like it's the books are like, oh look, group gets together, somebody plots against them, there's murder, there's backstabbing, a little bit of incest, incessant swearing, repeat process over and over and over. It's just like a copy paste kind of a thing. It doesn't feel particularly brand new every single time something else happens.
Well, it's not brand new. It's basically historical fiction, but with fantasy. You know, I mean, he's basing it on what's his face's not historical fiction about the Tudors, I think. Cornwell or
Cromwell.
Am I thinking of the right guy? Because that's his favorite author. We're on Cornwell.
I don't know.
Yeah. The guy who wrote Sharp.
I want to see Sharp. I haven't watched it, but I want to see it.
Well, it's all on in high def on my what I gave you access to. So I'm up to. I got to watch the season 4, episode 1, and do a review of it. That's what I'm up to.
My wife doesn't like when I watch things without her. Is the problem, and we don't have a whole lot of time to watch things together.
I heard women love Sharp. So,
I mean, I don't know how she feels about Sean Bean. So I guess that
he supposedly, especially when he was young, he was ruggedly handsome. He was like a Tom Selleck of Britain.
She's heavy into Outlander, so
okay.
That's what she's into. She loves that series, and she wants the new series to come out, but she's like, but it's gonna be on Stars. We don't have Stars, so it's
my aunt watched it, so I have some seasons of it on there.
Yeah,
you have to see what I have because she'll tell me, Matt, get me the next season when it comes out, so it'll be there.
What, 4 or 5 seasons out now, something like that.
I have no idea because I never care for the show, but
over and over, and I'm like, I could not watch that many times. That close together. Like she'll watch the whole series several times in like a couple months. Like I don't like. There's so many things, but she's the kind of person that goes and watches like Friends for like the 800th time, the entire season. We own the entire series of Friends. I've never watched a single one of them. I don't plan on it, but she loves it, and she's the kind of people like, it's too long to sit. I mean, she to be granted, or to give her credit, she does sit down and watch all the Lord of the Rings, all the Hobbits, and everything with me in one sitting in one single day. So she can do that. But she's kind of the mentality of the average person, which is like, oh, but that's so long. I couldn't possibly sit down for 3 hours and then sits down and watches like Friends in one sitting. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, but whatever.
There's this show called Murdoch Mysteries. It's about I have my aunt on Netflix. It's like 20 seasons. Every so often she'll binge the whole thing and she won't sleep for a week. She doesn't watch I'll see it playing like episode 1 through episode like 500. I'll call my like, is your mom okay? She's still watching it. She's still sitting in the chair watching it.
I could not do that. I when I was younger, I could stay up for 72 hours without sleeping. Now I'm just like,
I can't do that now.
I'd be lucky if I can get through 8 hours without falling asleep. Like, I'm tired all the time. So hopefully one of these days that'll go away. But yeah,
you'll find as you hit middle age, you want to take an afternoon nap.
I'm already there, dude. I've been there for a while.
Yeah.
But we'll go ahead and end this video here. Everyone can say hi to Landfear.
Go read actual good Tolkien, and or watch Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy, or watch the original animated stuff.
Everybody say hi to Landfear. But anyway,
here's something for you. So I'm reading this, which is okay. I'll put it on the screen so you can see it. Let me turn the camera on.
I'm seeing a reflection. Ah, yeah, I have that up here.
Yeah. So what's in there is every version of a Beren and Luthien ever, like all the as he wrote it through the decades or whatever. And before it became its own sort of Norse mythology type thing, when it was about fairies. So Melko, who was like an evil fairy prince type of thing, his servant Tevildo, the Lord of Cats, right, was the one who held Beren prisoner that Luthien rescued him from.
Yep.
So it's kind of funny, I mentioned that because I don't know if you read the Dresden Files, but the cat Sith.
I have not read the Dresden Files now.
He's a character who appeared in like 1 or 2 books, but he's insanely popular among the fans. Because he's the prince of all cats. Cat Sith, the cat she. Cats. But so the fairy animals, like the earliest version of Beren and Luthien was a fairy tale story. You know what I mean? Like more Celtic grounded than Norse. And I'm gonna bet when I get to the other books like this, like Fall Gondolin, the 2 other books like that, that I'm gonna see the same thing. The earliest version of the story are gonna have these fairy tale animals and whatever. Then it's gonna evolve towards final Silmarillion type version.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious in how Peter Jackson's going to deal with the Silmarillion stuff, because I had not heard that to the news.
Yeah, that was just announced. I talked about it on my live stream, I think 2 weeks ago. So
okay, yeah, I sadly have not heard anything about that. I know a lot of the people that typically in our group of people that we would be considered under the same umbrella as don't want anything new in terms of Lord of the Rings content, which I don't blame them, but at the same time, I'm like, yes, I do want more. I just don't want it to be bad.
Well, I agree with you. I would want more Wheel of Time content, but I wouldn't want it to suck.
Unfortunately, That's basically the only
I
option.
want more Star Wars content, but I don't want it to suck. You know.
Yeah, Star Wars is dead.
You know. But I mean, no. I mean, the Star Wars EU died to me before Disney got involved when they had that turd Jason Solo murder Mara Jade. That was it for me. I literally took all my Star Wars novels, walked out to the barbecue grill, and burnt them. I was the whole EU was dead to me when that happened.
Yeah, I was a little nipped because I love Mara Jade. Mara Jade
Yeah.
was one of my favorites in the EU.
She's one of my 3 favorite Star Wars characters. It was Luke, Mara Jade, and Ahsoka. Not modern Ahsoka, but Clone Wars Ahsoka.
Mine was Kir Kanos, Mara Jade, and Quinlan Voss.
Yeah. And I also was a big Nom Anor fan.
What?
From the New Jedi Order, a character named Nom Anor. He was like a sort of second-rate villain. He was involved in had a hand in everything. He has hand in everything. He was like the assistant villain, but he has hand in everything. You know?
Yeah.
But anyway, I enjoyed Rogue One, right? But that was more of a Lucas holdover than it was a Disney.
Well, Rogue One was one of those things where I liked it up until the end.
I thought the ending sold it to me, and the ending was predictable. You knew because they said they all died. Remember in Star Wars, they said that they all died to get those plans, so you knew that was happening.
The way they died is what set me off. Like if they were in a ship and the ship got exploded, that's one thing. But like they're on a planet and they're like, "Oh no, we can't get off the planet."
Well, they would have been blown apart by the fleet of Star Destroyers or the Death Star. Plus, they were trapped under the shield.
Yes, what I'm saying is that so you have the planets erupting inside the shield, but at least if you were in a ship at the edge of the shield, you'd at least potentially have a chance.
No. I mean, I know the physics involved. There's no way.
Even then, if I could manage to get through the shield, like if it cracked from the explosion of the planet, and I could zap out of there, I'd at least take that chance of fighting the Star Destroyers over just sitting on the beach and getting blown.
Well, the thing is, they didn't show the perspective well, but there's no outrunning that. That blast is moving at something like Mach 50.
Yeah, and I mean, I get that it's happening, but they're all just like, well, let's just go sit on a beach. Like, you could act a little, like, at least pretend you're trying to live.
I could see trying to get away. I would have been okay with that. But you knew they all died because they said that they all died.
I'm not saying I want them to live. I'm just saying the way they died looked stupid. I'm just like,
now I would have been cool if they were on the rebel ship and when Vader cut 1 or 2 of them down, type of thing. I thought that would have been cool, you know.
Or something like, let's say they did escape, but like from the perspective of the Rebel Alliance or everybody else, it looked like they died in an explosion, but they actually like were behind some like flying piece of the planet and they were just like attached to it.
I wanted them to die. I mean, I wanted to see the sacrifice of Rogue One. I really, I dug the idea that rebels had to die to get that.
Well, I'm not seeing that like every single one had to live or anything. I'm just saying like if one of the main characters survived, but everybody else died, but everybody else in the Rebel Alliance thinks.
It would have been cool if the one character who survived was the brother of the borderline Jedi guy, and he survived because the guy trusted the Force. You know what I mean? Like that would have been the one guy where like I believe in the Force, what he was doing, and he gets there, saves his brother, and his brother's in the ship, and he managed to fly off. That's the one guy who said, okay, that the Force saved him as in balance with his brother. That's the one guy I would have been cool with saving because he wasn't really part of Rogue One. He just went along with it. So you could say, well, Rogue One died, you know.
Well, that's the thing is like, even if one of them did, you could create kind of a loophole through that where it's like, okay, whoever survives, whoever it was, they don't get back in contact with the Rebel Alliance because afraid of spies or something like that. And they go off and then they kind of like create almost like a criminal organization kind of a thing, but it's not necessarily a criminal organization. And then it's basically like something that could come back later on in episode 7, 8, or 9 is like a buildup of network of whether it be criminal network or something. And they come back and they kind of sideswipe the Imperial forces and stuff. Like the Imperial forces are coming in to crush the Rebel Alliance and just get sideswiped. Like those would be the people that you'd expect to show up at the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Like that's what you would expect. And you'd be like,
I guess my biggest pet peeve Rogue One was they killed off Forrest Whitaker. Forrest Whitaker's character shows up just to be killed off.
I mean, as you do.
but like that character is a very popular character from Clone Wars. You know, like I
Well,
really didn't.
never watched it, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, fine. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying there's character like when the character just showed up and you thought he was going to be something cool. No, he just showed up to die. That's all he showed up to do is die.
Yeah. The only thing I really was like ecstatic about was the Vader scene.
Well, that was Vader. That was de-lamifying Vader. You know,
Yeah.
there was no emo Anakin in that Vader.
Yeah. It's like, I'm done with this. And I was just like, yeah, it's time to see a Sith actually be a Sith, not a wisp for one. But yeah, I don't know. I got some stuff for Star Wars, old Star Wars games I got to play, so that'll be fun to jump back into. But well, let's go ahead and end it here since I said that like 20 minutes ago.
We're ending it for real this time, guys. For real.
Yeah, and now to pick up a topic of something else. Just kidding. But yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the trailer. I know you
Although I should say, at least we could take this bad Rings of Prime trailer and make an hour out of it. We couldn't even make 15 minutes out of that other thing.
Queer Planet.
Yeah. How bad it was.
There's nothing about it. It's literally just like, yeah, you're doing the stuff we already knew, but no, we're not making a big deal about it because that's just how science works. But whatever. But yeah, we could talk for forever. We kind of branched off of Lord of the Rings though. So, but yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out. We'll hopefully have some more videos out coming up here soon.
This is a short video for us.
Yeah, it's short for us. Definitely short for us. One of these days we'll just make an EFAP channel and then we'll,
he'll loop together a 7-hour repeated version for those who need the 7 hours.
Well, I mean, like I could do a 24-hour stream. Technically, I'd have to get off work and everything, but I could do it. Maybe. I don't know if my ability to stay awake would be possible, but you never know. But yeah, we'll have some more content coming out for you guys. If you like the content, like, comment, share, subscribe, all the fun, good stuff. Your support makes the world go around. So, but yeah, we'll see you guys around. And remember, my friends, walk in the light.